Okay.
Okay.
Test.
I'm so excited. I do.
Okay, teachers, staff, and students, as we are about to begin the EPQ presentation, please be seated, except if you are presenting. Before we begin today's program, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this seminar. Again, kindly switch your phone to silent mode. Please remove your earphones. Okay. Avoid speaking to the person next to you in a loudly manner, just to avoid interruption. And I thank you for your cooperation and attention. So good morning, parents, teachers, and staff and students. My name is Mr. Collins. I will be the MC for today's EPQ presentation. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate you in joining us today. We hope you will gain a better understanding from today's presentation by the JC2 on their chosen topics. So today we have a lineup for you to be fruitful and engaging. Each presenter will have 10 minutes to present his or her topic, followed up by a 5 to 10 minute Q&A session. Now during this Q&A, anyone, including the parents, teachers, and staff, may ask the presenter a question. So this is the presentation lineup. We will begin with Brenda Tan, followed by Dwayne Setiawan. Third will be James Hartono. Fourth will be Sabrina Isabel. Fifth will be Luis Huang. Sixth will be Nikita Dermata. And the last one for today's presentation will be Nazriel Thompson. Before we start, let's begin with a prayer. Father in heaven, thank you for today's wonderful day. I pray that you guide the students who will be presenting the topics. I pray that you help them focus and concentrate and make it very engaging so that students and teachers and staff and parents will understand and learn something from today. I pray that you would help them to remain calm and be relaxed about it and not to stress about it. We pray all this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Let's begin. Brenda?
Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to be presenting about my topic, which is a better way to treat depression, medicines or cosmetic plastic surgery. So today I'm going to be standing with medicines because I believe that medicines are the best way to cure depression. Even though surgery to some extent can cure depression, however, medicines are better for the long run. So, introduction. Why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because many men and women are insecure about their physical appearances, and that makes them want to do surgery. But is this the best method to cure depression? I truly believe that the best method to cure depression are medicines. So the main references that I'm going to be using today is Castle et al. 2022, Gold Coast Plastic Surgery 2023, Mayo Clinic 2023, National Health Services 2021 and 23, and also NetStat 2021. So, what is depression? Depression is a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest, which affects our daily lives and activities. There are many types of depressants, as you can see here: major, persistent, depressive, bipolar, and seasonal affective. However, I'm going to be talking about depression in general today. So this is the first method that I have chosen. It's plastic facial surgery, and I'm going to be focusing on two, which are rhinoplasty and blepharoplasty. I do not stand with this method because I believe that medicines are the better method for many reasons that I'll be mentioning in today's presentation. So what is rhinoplasty? As you can see in this picture right here is a picture of a woman before and after rhinoplasty. And as you can see, before rhinoplasty, her nose is bumpy, but afterwards there is no more bump. And that is what rhinoplasty does. So it reshapes the nose, it removes bumps, it narrows the nostrils, and it makes the tip of your nose smaller. And this is also the most popular plastic facial surgery, which has 225,000 surgeries done every year. And I stand against this method because I believe that rhinoplasty is more expensive and it is riskier compared to the other method that I'm going to be talking about, which are antidepressants. So the advantages and disadvantages of rhinoplasty. Many people do rhinoplasty to improve their appearance. However, rhinoplasty is not used to only improve your appearance. However, it is also functional. It improves our nose appearance. It also improves our breathing from structural issues. It also fixes a broken nose from accidents, etc. Accidents such as sport injuries or physical fights, and also more. And the disadvantages are bleeding, infection, bad reaction to anesthesia, having permanent numbness around the nose, and also having breathing disturbances. So we have to set realistic expectations and we have to tell the doctor exactly what we want so the doctor can achieve the results and that we will be satisfied. What is blepharoplasty? Blepharoplasty has 200,000 treatments done every year, and it is a surgery to reduce or get rid of extra skin above or below your eyes, and it makes the eyes look more fresh and alive while also correcting your visual impairments. As you can see in this picture of here is a woman before and after blepharoplasty. The picture of the woman before blepharoplasty, she doesn't look as fresh as compared to after blepharoplasty, and she looks happier and her eyes look more open as well. So blepharoplasty aftercare is really important. You have to use sunscreen and you also have to avoid nicotine. So the advantages are that the eyes will appear bigger, the face will seem more fresh, it also corrects visual impairment due to the extra skin in the eyelid, and there is minimal scarring due to the incision hidden in the skin's natural fold in comparison to other types of surgery such as rhinoplasty, where it will not be hidden in the skin's natural fold, so it will be more obvious in comparison to blepharoplasty. The disadvantages include swelling and bruising, experiencing dry or irritated eyes, and overdoing the surgery may also result badly, so it is important to consult again with the doctor. The second method that I'm going to be talking about are antidepressants, and I'm going to be focusing on one which is tricyclic antidepressants. So based on the research I've done of the previous plastic surgery, also known as rhinoplasty and blepharoplasty is better. Yes, rhinoplasty is good, but blepharoplasty is better. And I do not stand with blepharoplasty, I stand with antidepressants. So what are antidepressants? Antidepressants are medicine used to treat depression and other illnesses such as obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. How does antidepressants work? So it increases the concentration of neurotransmitter-related substances in the brain, also known as serotonin and noradrenaline, and it also reduces depression, but it doesn't always deal with its main root causes. And therapy is recommended to more major depression or other mental health issues. I support this method. So a research from National Health Services 2021 mentioned that many people were using antidepressants for severe depression. And if you have mild depression, therapy is recommended because if you do not need antidepressants, then therapy will work fine. And the time it takes for antidepressants to work is 1 until 2 weeks. However, if the antidepressants do not work after 4 weeks, then you have to consult a doctor where they will increase your dose or change uh, to a different medicine. So the disadvantages of tricyclic antidepressants, there are many side effects which includes having a dry mouth, blurry vision, constipation, weight gain, dizziness, and also excessive sweating. And many people experience weight gain by using TCAs, which increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But most people do not get type 2 diabetes from the antidepressants itself, but from the weight gain that they experience from consuming the antidepressants. So some precautions that we have to watch for are pregnancy and breakthrough depression. During pregnancy, the area of your body expands, so the normal dose of antidepressants that a normal person would consume will not be enough for a pregnant woman. And the next thing is breakthrough depression. So what is breakthrough depression? Breakthrough depression is the depression that you get back during or after your treatment, and it may be triggered by a lot of factors, including stress, alcohol use, pregnancy, and also collision of using another medicine. So we have to watch out with what we are consuming and what we're doing. The recommended age for antidepressants are not advised for teenagers under the age of 18. So you have to be 18 and above to consume antidepressants. So, conclusion, I was able to write a research paper and I was able to know a lot about my topic. I know about the positive and negative effects about my topic. I was also able to know about the side effects of the surgeries and the antidepressants, etc. In conclusion, I believe that antidepressants are more effective because it is cheaper and it is more accessible, and the patients do not feel in debt. When you're doing plastic facial surgery such as blepharoplasty, it's going to be an addiction where you're going to do it one time and you're going to keep repeating and doing it. And it is going to be very costly because one time doing blepharoplasty is already very expensive. And if you keep repeating it, it will be more expensive. And um, it creates a mental toll on us humans. So I believe that antidepressants are better, even though there are consequences behind all of the methods that I was talking about today. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now it's time for Q&A. And does anybody have any questions? If you do, please raise your hand so I can pass this mic to you. So there will be a maximum of 5 questions for each presenter. Anyone? So, so what are the long-term risks with having rhinoplasty? Like when people you mentioned about people getting addicted. To what extent is the risk?
Well, it will be like very expensive and it will change almost your whole appearance if you want to do it over and over again. And it will just be very pricey and you will feel in debt after doing all of these procedures. And also the pain and discomfort that you experience from doing the rhinoplasty will take a mental toll on you because the time for plastic surgery to cure takes like weeks to months and it really hurts a lot. So
Anyone else? Kara? Come on, Kara. We know you have a lot of questions in your head. Okay, to speak to this.
So I think my first question would be that you first suggested the method of plastic surgery in order to help with depression. However, what are actually the advantages to doing plastic surgery that um, helps with the process of healing of your depression?
can you please repeat that?
So basically, you chose plastic surgery as the first method. How does plastic surgery actually help with depression?
Oh, well, many people are insecure about their physical appearances, and many people get bullied for them, or they get made fun of, they get mocked of because of their physical appearances. So they get depressed because of that, and they do plastic facial surgery to change their whole appearance. And usually, many people treat people differently based on their appearance. So when you do the plastic surgery, you will look better, they will feel better about themselves, and possibly the bullying may stop because they look better.
Anyone else? Xiaoyu? Come on, Xiaoyu, have a go.
Okay, so previously explained about the antidepressants were not you do not suggest that people who are under the age of 18 can consume it, right? So are there any other methods that you will suggest for those who cannot consume the medicine?
Perhaps for underage people, and if they cannot consume antidepressants yet, then therapy is recommended because therapy will work the same as antidepressants. However, when you are taking the antidepressants, you have to physically consume something, but therapy, it will fix you mentally without like consuming anything or doing like anything to your body.
Okay, Charlotte?
Okay, I would like to ask, you've mentioned therapy multiple times. I would like to ask, like, why not just use therapy without medication and plastic surgery accompanying it? Like, what are the risks of therapy without those two?
Usually for people who has mild depression, therapy is enough. However, if your depression is more major and it is more serious, you need to take antidepressants for it to work better, for it to make you feel more calm, because sometimes therapy cannot do that. So antidepressants may be needed for it to work better.
Last question.
So you're speaking to this.
Yes.
Okay, so you've recommended antidepressants multiple times. What happens if you just suddenly stop antidepressants? Like you've been consuming it for a while and suddenly you stop.
If you stop consuming antidepressants immediately, breakthrough depression might occur, because if you want to stop consuming antidepressants, you have to slowly decrease your dose, and you cannot immediately stop it, because breakthrough depression might happen and you will get your depression back. So you have to consult with a doctor, and they will slowly decrease your dose so that you are still consuming those antidepressants. However, you are not stopping them immediately.
Okay, thank you for those questions. I think those questions are really very clear and direct. And I thank you for your presentation, Brenda. Okay, everyone, a round of applause for Brenda. Okay, Dwayne, you'll be next.
Aduh.
Okay, you'll be fine, Dwayne. So, guys, please remain seated. Okay, we will give you a break, roughly 10 minutes, after the third presentation. Okay, so please remain seated. Okay, Dwayne, whenever you're ready.
Aduh.
It's okay, you'll be fine. Just stand here. Yep, yep.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Dwayne. Take a deep breath, relax.
Aduh, wait, hold on. I'm still.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Now I'll be talking about my EPQ presentation, which is about uh, yeah, Lego. Yeah. Now, for for those of you who hasn't who doesn't know the origin of Lego, Lego is originated in Denmark in 1932, and it was created by a carpenter named Ole Kirkman Christensen, and and the and his son is made the Lego brick that we all know today. But that's not my main topic, as yeah, that's my main topic, which is the problem of Lego cell. Now, I agree that the Lego sales has been decreased because when I go to a toy store, I cannot find any of them. So yeah, here's the graph of the sales rate. Okay, so on to the advantages of of how Lego can solve this problem. So as you may know, the Star Wars setting are the most popular. Now, as you may know me, yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm not gonna be biased since there will be disadvantages, mm, such as such as this one where customer might get bored of seeing the Star Wars set all the time. And but hey, the advantages is that okay, hold on for a minute. Yeah, I need to take a breather for a while. Okay, sorry for that. Uh, so okay, fine. Let's just go to the disadvantages first. Yeah. So Lego has problem with their inventory since stores are almost full, so they cannot sell their items in the store, and the employee have time constraint, and most people say the quality of the Lego sets is bad, um, and and many people don't seem to buy Lego anymore since they move on and grow up. So here's my solution. So as I mentioned before, Lego has a problem with their inventory. So just give more space. And as for the employees, time constraint, uh, uh, give the employee more breaks and collaborate with more viable company, and update their bricks to make something more unique. Uh, when you when you more minutes left. Sorry, I mispressed. But hey, there's hope for Lego to increase their price, as there's a new uh, there's a new Lego Star Wars set, and even though when it's small or miniature, many people say it's good. I cannot show the image, but I got that from YouTube. So so uh, uh, yeah, that that's all I have for my presentation.
Thank you, Dwayne. Does anybody have any question? Okay, Dwayne, I have a question.
Sure.
Can Lego truly help a child's development?
Yes, they're viewed as sometimes as a stress reliever, building stuff and making them more creative.
Anyone else? Boys at the back? Do you think that collecting Lego is a waste of money? Do you think is it worth collecting Legos?
Well, for me, it depends on the people. If the people see it as a collection, then sure, go ahead. But I also think that it's also a waste of money, since what's the point of buying it if you're not gonna use it?
Yeah.
Oh no, 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 no,
It's okay, you'll be
no, no,
fine.
no, no.
According to your own opinion, which demographic would be the most beneficial for Lego to advertise to?
Europe. uh,
Why?
because Europe is the place of origin, and it has more, and the sale rate are much more higher. So thank you. Aduh.
You'll be okay. You have mentioned Star Wars several times.
Yeah.
I would like to ask, how do you think Star Wars can actually help the sales of Lego because it was not actually mentioned in your presentation? Thank you so much.
They're oh sorry. They're the first company that Lego collaborated. So of course they will be more popular, and since Star Wars has so many ideas and vehicles so Lego can get that idea. And plus, Star Wars is the one that made Lego sales skyrocketed back in 2004. Aduh, Charlotte. Aduh.
Charlotte. Okay.
No, I
Okay.
cannot believe it. I'm getting asked again.
Do you think if Lego were to sell original sets that do not have the added value of famous brand names attached to it, such as Star Wars, Jurassic Park, etc., the sales of that product will be successful?
Can you repeat? Can you repeat?
Do you think the sales of original Lego sets that doesn't have the added value of famous brands or franchises such as Jurassic Park and Star Wars would be a successful product?
I disagree. There's this thing called Lego City, and that's an original product, and Lego Bionicle. Those are also original product, and yeah, they'll be more. They'll also be successful. But since thanks to the collaboration with the franchise, the original set are underwhelmed or overshadowed.
Okay, thank you for that, Dwayne. Okay, let's give Dwayne a round of applause. Okay, so the next presentation is James. So James, could you come up, please? James, did you submit that? I can't find it here. Oh yeah, because it's still missing, but
So that's all. All right, so good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to be presenting my EPQ project, which is about the relationship between empathy, ethics, cultural, and in modern business practices. All right, so these are my table of contents which have introduction, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. Okay, so why you guys would be wondering like why am I picking this topic? So we as young teenagers right now, as students, maybe one day when we grow up, when we are in university, we're gonna be thinking, how if I start a business? How if I become a CEO? And what should I do? Maybe what responsible do I have? And later on, if I will open a shop or being a owner. So that's one of the reasons why I picked this topic, then how modern business can follow ethical codes. So not only that we're gonna learn how I'm gonna be inspiring you guys to be a business leader, but also how we can follow ethical codes for not only for us, but for the employees too. And then lastly is how business leaders need to focus on ethics and empathy for workers. All right, so for the introduction, uh, I divided into two topics, which is ethical business practices and corporate culture. Why? So in the first one, ethical business practices are because increasingly importantly because of business leaders and how to hold the companies for accountable for doing the right thing in modern businesses. So what it means by this is how as business leaders we can follow an ethical code for not only for us but only for the workers also, and also ethical companies that are also those that adopt responsible and sustainable strategies, considering social, psychological, and economic aspects. And also for the corporate culture part, it's also about cultural interactions between each other, which have high on developing tolerance and dispelling cultural stereotypes. Then second is also people from various cultural backgrounds think that they feel and behave differently. So especially in Indonesia, there is a lot of cultures, as you know, and we can know how to respect them and we can treat them differently and also respectfully. And also, last is to understand these differences, we must adopt a cultural relativism perspective objectively evaluating different cultures. All right, next I'm gonna go directly to the methods. So what are my methods to find this project? So first is to discover young teenagers that have a soul of being a business leader. So yeah, back again, we as teenagers have different dreams, different passion, different uh, objectives, and also cultural awareness and employee behavior and communications within cross-cultural work environments. So we also find in environments of their companies. So I'm gonna find in each companies they have different cultures, different people and different environment and how they work and how they communicate, how they work, and also their productivity. Then lastly is how ordinary people perceive the application of ethical principles in business when business leaders are present. So employees tend to be more valued and more confident in their abilities to work in our company. Okay, then directly to the results. So what I am going to prove you guys is these two topics, which is the empathic leadership on ethical decision making and organizational culture, and developing empathetic leadership, improving the ethical cultures, and improving organizational performance. So we're gonna find about that. Then secondly is to prove the workers and business leaders have positive correlations between empathetic leadership styles and also positive company outcomes, satisfaction, productivity, ethical business, and also trust for the employees. So we can see that the employees that they are working for us, they can actually have good productivity, good motivation, and good workings on themselves and for us. So not only it's for them, not only as an economical way, but also for their mental, and also for their wealth. Okay, so let's get into the graph. So in figure 1 here, I am finding for the majority of the genders, which are in 50 participants, there are 46% male and 54% female. So we need to find like which people works in our company also, not only that we are gonna see on one side, but also two genders here. And in figure 2 is, do you follow a certain ethical code? And 77% of the people said yes, and 23% answered no. And that the reason they are following the ethical codes is because that the company that you're working is used to it. So why is this applying to them? Because as you know, as we students right now, we also follow a certain ethical code. As like in school, we follow our teachers, our mentors, and why we need to follow them. Because if we don't follow them, we gonna not listen to them, we're not gonna learn anything. Same as this. So they need to follow a certain ethical code because the companies are also using it. Okay, next on this table, in table 3, I found in 88 participants, 63 were male and 25 were female. And how long they've been working in this organization is mostly uh, 5 to 10 years. There are almost 60%, 67% is almost working 5 to 10 years. Then 11 to 20 years is only around 30%. And so these are actually the one of the efficient one, which is the efficient questions, which are, does the organizational determines the productivity level of organizations. So yeah, as I said before, there's different cultures, different people, different environments, and does it actually determines their productivity of their working in our company? And 50% strongly agreed, 44% agreed, 2% undecided, and also 3% disagree. So why the majority said this? It's because that them as different cultures, they need to communicate well. They need to communicate with each other with different cultures. Even though, so we as humans right now, we need to keep respect, and also we need to have a good communications so they can have good productivity level of their organizations. Without that, they cannot do good productivity of their workings and also good efficient of their workings too. And also lastly is the table 4, which is this, is there any positive relationship between organizational culture and employee job performance? This is actually quite similar with the previous question, but this one is more to the positive side. So 48% agree, 28% strongly agree, 11% undecided, 8% disagree, and 3% strongly disagree. So this one maybe a little bit of people, maybe some of them are confused, but as I seen in my research paper from the book Endocrine, that's where I got this one of the references, Endocrine. He is actually from Oxford University. So what I found is that uh, the different culture actually impacts their lifestyle. So what they do is different. Like every one of us is doing different styles, and they need to adapt with each other. And how they should do it is by communicating and by respecting them. Okay, let's get into the discussion. So the discussion of all the results that I just said before is the importance of how companies' culture affects of how the employee perform its jobs and its efficiency. Then second is the efficient management of resources, emphasizing that they need to make the most of what's available, ensuring that the organization is also operates at peak efficiency. So as I stand on my opinion and why I choose this topic is because this too we need to as business leaders we need to put the factors of respecting the employees, respecting the managers, what we need to do when we are actually being a boss or CEO or business leader. We can learn how to respect them, and also human relationship management of unique employees, individuals within the company structures, focusing on creating a positive workplace. So of course, in our workings, we need to prove that we have positive working environment so that we can be a good, positive company. And lastly is to see that they are valued and also honest, kindness, dignity, compassion, integrity, fairness, helpfulness, and patience. So for all of us, we need to have those kinds of ethical codes. And let's get us into the conclusion. So what I think, let's just make it simple right now. So the importance of empathy and ethics. So why these are important, and ethical business practices are also very important for us, so we can follow them for our business later. Then empathetic leadership, so we can have a good motivation for the employees and for us also. And then employee engagement and motivation, so that we can know how to respect them by different cultures and different people. Then cultural interaction and understanding, yeah, we need very good communication with them even though they maybe have different culture. And lastly is to inspire the young generations to organizational success. So as us, again, lastly I'm gonna say is just we need to focus as humans. We need to keep respect to our employees, and also we need to follow the certain ethical code so we can build a good positive environment for our company later on if we open a, company one day. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, question time. Okay, Charlotte, it's like questions from business students, young business. How do you maintain ethical codes in your companies and businesses? Because when your business is small, it's easier to manage the relationships between your employees. But like in a larger business, let's say you already delegate some tasks to other people. How do you manage that?
Okay, so I get that the question that you may ask is about big companies, right? Let's say McDonald's. So why, if we have like a business like as McDonald's, they are a very big company. They are over around the world internationally. So how they manage it? They have what they call managers, and if you can see, it's like our as a CEO, it's gonna be divided into managers, and managers will be divided, and they're gonna also divided into another workers. So managers are like our small companies. That's why it's more easier for them, for us to manage, because we can control the managers and the managers control the workers. So we don't get busy, we don't get overpopulated. So we can ask by the managers, and the managers will inform to us like what they do and if they follow the certain ethical codes. Yeah, that's apparently much.
If being an ethical business or leading an ethical business brings this much benefit, it is like very important. Being ethical in a business or leading an ethical business brings this much benefit, or is this important
Yeah, so that's what we are trying to find out actually. As I said before, that we later on we can improve ourselves so we can follow certain ethical code. So yes, there's a disadvantage. Maybe some businesses maybe don't follow a certain ethical code. Why? Usually they just tend to be more greedy as a person. They only put money on it, or he's gonna think like, oh, I got more money by doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this. But they don't actually put the factor of looking at those people. And that's why in my presentation today, I showing that how we can respectfully have a good win-win situation for us and for the later on for the people, so they don't get actually bad disadvantage, like as now companies have only one-sided only. That's, I think, what you want. That's actually a very good question, Ma'am Susan. And yeah, I've actually thought about this. So it's actually fair. You know why? Because we as humans, as God created us, we are we have mistakes in lives, because everyone have mistakes in life. We have sins, we have maybe bad sides. That's why it is actually almost all fair, because not everyone here is honest. Maybe they have dishonesty for once. Yeah, because it's actually just fair. Everybody has dishonesty in their lives, and they could actually not follow the ethical code for once, but we see on how unfair we are, to other people, like how we help other people, like if it's actually quite major on their company, then that's very bad. But if it's like minor things, like as you said, as the health clinic, yeah, that's actually fine, because maybe in life, maybe there's a few things that we are dishonest and not following the ethical codes. Yes, thank you. Uh, Usually they put out the ethical code, because they will need to like know what they are working in the company for. So they need to follow, like as us students also, when we want to go to school, we must know what's the code, like what's our code here in our school. Like for example, I go to school, oh, I must know that I must listen to the teachers, I must not complain to the teachers, I must be respectful to the teachers. So we as workers also is the same, so that when they before they go to the working to our company, they must know what they are working it for. Like they need to follow this certain ethical code if they are joining our company, and if they are not joining our company, then what will happen. So that's mostly much like what's the idea of this. If I put it in order, ethical code would be the first, then second will be the cultural, and then last would be the empathy. Because empathy is actually, and different people have different kinds of empathy, uh, feelings and emotions. So, uh,
Okay, last question by me. Uh, question is actually quite. This is related to what you do in your research. Um, do you or do you not do a research about the prevalence about especially companies in Indonesia, whether they actually follow the ethical and being empathetic to their uh, employees or customers or anything else? Do you have to happen any? Do you have to come up with some sort of research about that in Indonesia? Thank you.
Okay, for your question there, it's actually quite a difficult answer to answer for me because actually, if you ask about it, no, I don't have a research on that because why is it? Indonesia uh, is a very huge company with a lot of population in this world. So it's actually very hard to find like which company that have followed a certain ethical code or not. And because as in Indonesia, there's a lot of problems going on. Maybe there's like such as the president electing. Maybe there's a lot of problems. So we can actually find like a certain problem that actually defines this in Indonesia. And that's all for my answer.
Okay, thank you, James. Okay, let's give James a round of applause. Okay, we're gonna have one more presentation before we go on a 10-minute break. One more presentation, yeah, and then we go on a 10-minute break. Okay. Okay, so the next presenter will be Sabrina. So Sabrina, just come up, please.
Good morning, everyone. My EPQ today will be about which is a better treatment for OCD, cognitive behavior therapy or selective serotonin. I stand with the CBT treatment because it has a more positive impact on people's lives. It has no side effects and it is better long term. Introduction. OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder is a common mental illness with 10% of the world's population are diagnosed. It is characterized by obsessions. Obsessions are recurrent thoughts, desires, are invasive or unwanted, whereas compulsions are repetitions that the person feels the need to carry out the action. I chose this topic because OCD is such a common mental illness for people, and not everyone can afford or have access for the treatments. For this project, I have no knowledge or understanding of the OCD treatments. That's why I'll include it. It's the best method for OCD in terms of cost efficiency, accessibility, as well as long-term effects. Are common symptoms of OCD are accountability for annoying thoughts, obsessions with contexts, obsession with symmetry, as well as hoarding. Why is OCD a problem? Because of the OCD symptoms, it may disrupt people's daily lives, such as social issue. People may be too tired to be present in their friends' or family's lives. In work, it's hard to focus with all the obsessive and compulsive thoughts as and in relationships. If it may create tension with the constant presence of obsessions and compulsions. Untreated OCD can lead to more severe mental health issues such as anxiety, panic attacks, and depression. This may lead to alcohol and drugs for their coping. This is my first method, which is CBT or cognitive behavior therapy. CBT, false thoughts and beliefs are the focus. This is the care method, exposure response prevention or ERP. It works by exposing patients to stimuli that cause obsession and makes CBT is usually a weekly therapy session or about 2 until 3 sessions per week. It has a successful rate of 50 until 70%. I stand with this method because CBT a better long-term solution for people, even though it may be more expensive than my other method, SSRIS. CBT uh, gives solutions or strategies for people to cope with their obsessive and compulsive behavior or in the future. However, CBT may be hard to access and is expensive for certain people. This is an alternative form, which is ICBT, Internet-Based Cognitive. It has the same results. However, it is cheaper, more accessible, although it does require longer sessions. It is online. It is requires longer sessions for around months to a straight up 8-hour session. This is my second method, selective serotonin reuptake. It's a type of antidepressant. It's the most common medication used for people with OCD. It works by increasing the serotonin level in the brain, which helps regulate people's mood, therefore reducing their OCD symptoms. However, this method is not good for a long-term solution, as people get dependent on the medication and can experience withdrawal symptoms when they are not on it. It is a temporary fix and not a good for long-term solution. These are some examples for the SSRIs pills. There are citalopram, fluoxetine, paroxetine, sertraline, citalopram, and benzodiazepine. SSRIs can vary from person to person, as some people may not respond to the medication, some may have allergic reaction, some may have severe symptoms that they can't even handle it. These are some examples of an SSRIs symptom. There are nausea, headache, insomnia, dry mouth, lack of appetite, dizziness, and fatigue. So my conclusion for the question, which is a better treatment for OCD, CBT or SSRIs. For CBT, it is better for long-term solutions as it focuses on the root cause of the problem. It has no side effects, and it works by exposing stimuli that cause obsessions and refrain patients from doing any compulsions. It's a weekly therapy session, has a response rate of 50 until 70%, and its cost ranging from $50 until $200. However, that's for a CBT, for the traditional CBT. And for cheaper alternative, for the ICBT, it costs ranging from $60 until $90 per session. This is the method. CBT is the method I stand with, as it gives people strategies to cope with their obsessive and compulsive behavior in the future. My second method, which is SSRIs, is a type of antidepressant. Helps increasing serotonin level in the brain, which helps regulate their mood, therefore reducing OCD symptoms. It has negative. I do not stand with the SSRIs method because for long-term solution, it's not a good solution. It does have negative impacts if taken long term. It can impact the quality of people's lives.
Okay. Anyone? Does anybody have any question?
So I have two questions. The first one is mostly talking about OCD itself. So is there a difference between OCD and perfectionism? If so, what are they?
I think perfectionism is more to they're obsessed with being perfect all the time. Has to do with their mental, like their mindset and to their like visions and stuff. For OCD, it's more like they can't control their thoughts at all. And there are some unreasonable behaviors, such as, for example, like checking if they have locked the door or not. That's OCD. Have unreasonable, obsessive thoughts all the time.
Okay, so my second question, is there a way to balance the usage of both CBT and SSRI to cure OCD?
It is a better solution to actually use both SSRIs and CBT at the same time with the help of therapists, as they can give the right dosage to people. As it, the SSRIs may help people with reducing the symptoms while they are in therapy. which takes a long time to actually work. It's actually better to use both at the same time.
Okay, anyone else? Would you like to ask a question? One, this side, Brenda, do you have any question? I have a question. Okay, sorry. Yep.
No, OCD is not contagious as people may develop it from birth or as an adult, and it doesn't make people will you hang out with have them too. Some people may have the like maybe some like if the OCD patient have like some routine of doing this, the her friend or his friend may have that routine too. However, it does they will not have any obsessive thoughts.
Okay, Sabrina, my question is, you're talking about OCD, right? Is OCD can be included into neurodivergent? And if it is can be included into neurodivergent, I bet it has spectrums, right, of OCD. How severe one can suffer OCD until he or she may need treatment, and how can one assess? Because sometimes I feel like when I see the piles of book, uh, it's not really in line. I feel the urge to make it better, or yeah, things like that. Probably I am OCD. I have this OCD, but how to tell and what spectrum would it be? How to assess that? And which one is a better treatment? Do everyone that has OCD need the treatment?
Um, for the spectrum, I think the most severe symptom of OCD is when they can't have any other thoughts just to complete their obsessions or their compulsive behavior. That's for the more severe, well, it has more severe symptoms. For example, like they can't continue with their daily lives nor communicate with other people just because they need to do one thing that stop thinking disrupts all their other thoughts and actions or tasks. They just need to focus on that. And I think not all people that has like different spectrums. There are different spectrums in OCD, and like for the least severe symptoms, I don't think people need to get treatment unless it does disrupts their life. But it's just little um, thoughts here and there to fix things and does not disrupt their lives. They don't need a treatment.
Okay, last question. How hard should therapists push the patients to participate in treatments that will be upsetting in the short run if they know that they will be successful in the long run? So, how hard should therapists push the patients to participate in treatments?
Um, it is they can't really force patients to get treatment. However, it is very recommended, especially for those that their symptoms have disrupts people's lives. Um, a therapist can only like help if, especially CBT, they can only help patients that are willing to get help, as CBT does require longer sessions, which also requires a dedication treatment. However, if they are not dedicated, they can't really.
Okay, thank you for those questions. All right, everyone give Sabrina a round of applause. All right. Okay, everyone. We're gonna go on a 10-minute break. So please use this time to go to the toilet. We'll be back at 11:10. So everyone should be back at 10 past 11. Thank you. Start.
Good morning, friends and teachers. Today I'm going to present about my APQ assessment. So my topic, what is my topic and what is my question? My topic is about what are the impacts of fast food such as McDonald's on cholesterol levels. In this research, I stand against frequent consumption of McDonald's such as because it provides many risks to our body. So you might be wondering why I chose McDonald's and why I specify cholesterol levels. So basically, from research, I have found that a frequent consumption of McDonald's fast food, such as fried chicken and French fries, have been proven to cause health problems associated with cardiovascular diseases, and it might also cause our body to gain fats. Another part of our body which is affected is the cholesterol levels. These cholesterol levels are the ones that uh, causes the risk of cardiovascular diseases, which is why I specified on cholesterol levels. So what are cholesterol? Cholesterol is basically a waxy substance which is found in our blood and our body, which also helps in building healthy cells. There are two types of cholesterol, which are the high density lipoprotein cholesterol, or known as the good cholesterol, and the low density lipoprotein cholesterol, also known as the bad cholesterol. The reason why the high density lipoprotein cholesterol is known as the good cholesterol is because it helps carry excess cholesterol from other parts of the body to the liver, causing it to be excreted from our body. However, the low density lipoprotein cholesterol is known as the bad cholesterol due to the fact that it instead brings the excess cholesterol into our arteries and cause blockage in our blood flow and causing cardiovascular diseases. So second, there a relationship between amount of fast food consumed and cholesterol levels. So on a study which was carried out at the University of Yale, it was done by Bashir et al. In the year 2017. Blood samples of 44 healthy individuals were taken and examined. What was done during this research? During this research, the blood samples were taken and the blood serum lipid profiles were analyzed. More specifically, the uh, total cholesterol levels, the high density lipoprotein cholesterol, the high density lipoprotein cholesterol, and the triglyceride levels of each individuals before and after consumption of fast food were analyzed. So this is the table that shows the number of fast food meals intake in a week. In Table 2, it can be concluded that with increasing fast food intakes in a week, the LDL levels also increases. In Table 3, it shows the number of fast food meal intake per year, and it can be concluded that as the number of fast food intakes per year increases, the low density lipoprotein cholesterol, the total cholesterol levels, and the triglyceride levels also increase. Next, nutritional values in McDonald's item. So what is the highest cholesterol? What is the highest item in the McDonald's item which contains the highest cholesterol content? The answer is the McDonald's Big Breakfast. It contains 173 milligrams of cholesterol, and the item with the lowest cholesterol content is the McDonald's spicy buffalo sauce and the side salad, which contains 0 milligrams of cholesterol. So in these facts were found in the dietandfitness.com. It is also provided in this research that in one of the most popular menu items in McDonald's, the Big Mac, every 100 calories, it does not contain any nutritional content whatsoever. And in 100 grams of Big Mac, it contains high cholesterol and high total fats, which can be concluded that it is a bad food because it contains high cholesterol and high fats. Why does the government still allow this? So basically, the government still allow this because McDonald's bring many benefits to our society. For example, it provides cheap, affordable, and flavorful food, which lots of you probably like. It provides jobs to the community. For example, in a research which was done in Los Angeles, California, made by Dennis H. Tutelian at 2010, McDonald's rebuilt 6 restaurants and renovates 8 restaurants. While rebuilding 6 restaurants and renovating 8 restaurants, McDonald's was able to provide 45 jobs and have spent about $3.7 million in the local area. McDonald's also started from America, and it introduces American culture to worldwide, which is why it is supported by the government. It also helps give income to the society since it helps buys the products in the local community. For example, it spent $3.7 million in the local area during the research paper before. McDonald's is also known to help children worldwide. It has built charity called Ronald McDonald Children Charity Groundwork, which has donated about $5 million to children worldwide. So what are food additives? Food additives are any substance or mixture which is found in food due to production, processing, storage, or packaging not included in basic cooking ingredients. It is also known that McDonald's put many food additives in their products. The benefits of food additives include it enhances flavors. Some were able to increase cholesterol levels. For example, soluble fiber, plant sterols, and plant stans. And it is also able to increase the amount of time in which the product does not expire. However, it comes with disadvantage as well. It is associated with hypersensitivity reaction, potential toxicity, and some may increase cholesterol levels, such as the ones that are added in McDonald's items. The food additives added in McDonald's item include the artificial trans fat and saturated fats, which are found in these McDonald's item, the McDonald's chocolate chip cookie and McDonald's brownies. That's it for my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, question time. Does anybody have any question? Yes. Good. Remember, we need to ask 5 questions.
Okay, thank you, Luis, for the presentation. However, it come to me that your research is done in the It's not I suggested because I'm a big fan of McDonald's myself. Not me actually, my children are. Yeah, but then again, is there any comparison or have have to happen any data related to the McDonald's, especially because we are in Indonesia and I've been to different countries, just to our next beloved neighbor, which is Singapore or Malaysia. The taste is a bit different. So I assume the taste would be the composition of the ingredients that we use, especially for the it's especially for the fried chicken and for the burger and everything. So is it can I just take this research to Indonesia, apply it so that you can make the same conclusion that McDonald's in Indonesia is not healthy, or should I do a different?
So basically, McDonald's is a franchise, right? So the ingredients are all helped by the franchisor, so that the franchisee produces their products similar to those in other countries. However, McDonald's in Indonesia and other countries, to help their marketing strategy, they also add some new items, such as like nasi uduk or like uh, to fit the taste of Indonesian people and other countries too. That's why some of their products may differ. However, for some products such as the fried chicken, the hamburger, it's mostly similar to those of other countries.
Okay, next question. Uh, you said McDonald's is unhealthy, right? So are there like alternatives to this? Are there any healthy fast foods?
Fast foods in general does not uh, thus is related with high risk of cardiovascular disease, and it may increase also your body fat. So therefore, if you want to eat fast food in fast food restaurants, I could recommend you the side salad, which contains 0 milligrams of cholesterol.
Yeah, I have a question. Does McDonald's contribute more to cholesterol problems compared to other fast foods?
Um, McDonald's is one of the biggest fast food restaurants there are, so I believe that it contributes more to society since it provides more jobs than other fast food restaurants, since there are more franchises of McDonald's, since it is more known globally.
You said before one of the arguments why McDonald's is actually important to society is that it has charity. Do you have statistics on McDonald's charity and compare whether it is more contributing than other charities in Indonesia?
So basically, from the charity, which was the Ronald McDonald Charity Groundwork, it donates to all of the children worldwide. So basically, it's not only in Indonesia. It helps all the children in the world. And the statistics which was found was that it has donated about 5 million US dollars to help the children. Uh, yes, but I think it no longer there is no longer that charity since it's already brought down.
Knowing that you mentioned about the additives, and we know that it's dangerous. Why is it that this is still happening? I mean, why is that government is still supporting a company that pretty much to some extent is killing the society
So
slowly but surely?
So basically, not all food additives are bad. As I said before, some may actually decrease cholesterol levels. It's just that some cholesterol, some food additives which were added in fast food are not those which helps decrease cholesterol. However, they are the ones instead which brings disadvantages to uh, our health. So basically, not all food additives are bad.
Okay, last question, anyone? Does anybody want to ask one more question before we move on to the next one? No? Those at the front? We must ask at least 5 questions. One more question.
It's already 5, sir.
Is it 5 already?
Surrey, Abel.
Oh,
Go
that's five
back
already.
and
Okay, sorry, my bad. I miscounted. Sorry. All right, thank you. Thank you, Luis. Okay, so the next presenter is Nikita. So just want to quickly remind you guys, please remove your headset. Please participate, okay, by listening to your friend who is presenting. It's not an easy job, okay, especially for the JC1 next year. You'll be doing this. So yeah, learn from this, okay. So please remove your headset and just pay attention, just to be considerate. They were also listening to your presentation. Just give us about a minute. Be still loading. You zoom it. Yeah. So if I slide, it won't up like this. So it's a bit slower. Just thinking of this PowerPoint. Yeah. It's just if you use the slideshow. Okay. Can't wait. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Everyone, today's episode I will be talking about is animal testing needed in humans. So first of all, I will do a short introduction about animals. Animals have been used throughout the history of science testing. Animals have been used in the history of science, mostly for the testing of medicines or experiments. On previous, in the 12th century, there was an Arab physician that introduced animal testing as a method of research, and this has been used until today's time. But recently, there was a severe criticism from the publics, which results in separate views about animal testing. The first view is that animal testing is acceptable if only suffering are reduced by scientists. And the second view is that the public think that it is unacceptable and that human benefits can be found using other methods. But animal testing have been determined to be used as an effective and a safetiness of the new medicine. So that's got me thinking whether animal testing is needed in human medicine or not. Before this, I will stand that animal testing is very much needed for the new development of human medicine, as it can determine the effectiveness and safety of this new medicine. And to justify this, I'll be using 5 methods. 3 of them are surveys from different countries, and 2 of them are failed medicine. The first survey is I'll be using from Clements and Lehman, which is based in the UK. It analyzes the importance of animal testing for the human medicine and also acceptance of and necessity of the public's view. The second method is that I will be using from UK Home Office, which is a government website from the UK, and it determines the purpose of animal testing and also the type of animal that are used. The last survey is that I'll be using Uchokoshi and Kasai from Japan, and it is
a public's awareness and opinion in the animal testing. As for the cases, I'll be using sulfanilamide disaster and thalidomide tragedy. For the sulfanilamide disaster, it happens in the USA and in the year of 1937. It is supposedly to treat streptococcal, and it is sold, previously it was sold in the form of powder and tablet, but there was a demand for the medicine to be sold in the liquid form, which results in a chief chemist to add diethylene glycol, or DEG, to the sulfonamide as a solvent, and then he adds flavoring and then sold it to the publics. This new form of medicine didn't have any testing because at that time, the Foods and Drugs Association does not really need requirements of safety studies for the new drugs to be used publicly. As for the thalidomide tragedy, which is based in mostly Germany, and it happens in around 1950s, it is mostly used as a tranquilizer and painkiller, and also to treat morning sickness of pregnant women. But scientists has found out that it is impossible to give animal a lethal dose of this medicine, which concluded that the medicine is safe for humans to be consumed. And unfortunately, this medicine does not have any clinical evidence. So I'll be talking about the results of these methods. The first results is from UK Home Office, which is a government website. About 48.6% of animal testing is conducted for the genetic of human studies. And I would agree with this because most of the genetic studies that we have nowadays are mostly found out from animals that most of them have similar connections with humans. As for the second graph, which is on the very right side, it is talking about the type of animals used in the animal testing. Most of the animals that are used are mice and rabbits, which have a percentage of 72.8%. And I would agree with the usage of this animal for animal testing because mice and rabbits have very high number of population. As for the results from Kleeman and Lehman, 65% accepts that animal testing is mostly used for medical research. And also, on the second graph, which is on the right, on figure 4, it talks about the necessity of this animal testing. Most of the public thinks that it is very necessary for animal testing to be done on new medicines. This is the next result, which is the result for the Japan survey. And the first one is about the public's necessity towards the usage of animal testing. More than 50% of the respondents agree that animal testing is very needed for the development of new medicine. And I would also agree with the respondents on this graph because animal testing nowadays are mostly used to treat new medicines, and it has been found that animal testing can help in the development of new medicines, for example, like HIV medical treatment. Next is another result from the same survey is that most of the animals that are used from the public's awareness is that most of the scientists uses mice and rats, but the public chooses that insects will be a much better test subject for this animal testing as they have a large population and are much more easier to be used for animal testing. Next is another result from the same survey is that 70% agree that the development in the science that it is mostly used for the development in science and medical field. And this is what I'm going to be talking about. Animal testing is mostly used for science and medical field as nowadays new medicine are needed to find the cures for different types of diseases, and these diseases sometimes would be hard to be, and sometimes these new medicines are not very ethical to be put into humans first. So scientists will be using animals as the first test subject before putting it on humans. And the last result from the survey is that less than 40% agree that animal testing is used to relieve pain and suffering of these of diseases, and that 35% said that scientists need to find an alternative method to reduce the number of pain. I mostly accept with most of these statements, except for the fifth statement, which is social movement for abolition and reduction of animal experimentation. I will disagree with that fifth statement because without animal testing today and nowadays, we cannot find whether new medicines are very effective and very safe for humans to be. This is the result from the disaster of sulfanilamide disaster. So before that, American Medical Association or AMA received reports that there have been several cases of death relating to this medicine, and AMA is tested that the sulfanilamide have diethylene glycol, which is a toxic ingredient for the medicine, and it is very toxic for humans, which can causes kidney failure, stoppage of urine, stupor, and also convulsions. This production was stopped by the government. And the last method and the last result is the thalidomide tragedy, which causes the nerve damage in hands and feet for the adults, while it causes impairments to babies' body when consumed during pregnancy, which we can see from this picture right on the left, that some of the babies in here have malformations on their body. And also, researchers weren't able to quick to realize the connection between these malformations and also the results of the medicine because some of the limb impairments are similar to genetic conditions that some of these babies have. I will be talking about the discussion of this research that I've done. The first one is that the data that I have used shows that animal testing are mostly used for medical research, and some experimentations cannot be done as humans need gene modifications, which justifies that animal testing are very much needed for the development of those new drugs and if it can be used towards the public. The second is that an argument was presented during a conference, and it is found whether experiments that the scientists use on animals are using the smallest number of animals and also have the most less pain than that the research uses. The next is that scientists should look for alternative methods that can help in the development of other new medicines. But the issue is that these animals, we don't know how long it will be available for us throughout the future, and so the public wants researchers to find alternatives and also use a less number of animals. I have come up with several solutions. I have three solutions that I have found. The first solution is using computer models as the alternative. And computer models is used as a prediction of biological and toxic effect of a chemical by using several computer models. We can use computer aided drug design or CADD, which is um, one of the alternative methods that can be used for this computer models. But the one that I have right now in this slide is the ACER, which is the structure activity relationship. It predicts the biological activity of a drug based on chemical molecules attached to the parent compound. And in this SAR, there is another same method, which is called the QSARs, which is quantitative structure activity relationship, which which is a mathematical models, and it is used to find the relationship between physiochemical and biological activity of a drug. This this is mostly used as a prediction of carcinogenicity and mutagenicity. The second one is the cell and tissue culture, which uses which are which uses the cells and tissue of an animals that are removed from their organs, and it is kept in a suitable conditions so that scientists can use it as an experimentation subject. In this method is used for the inspection of toxicity and efficiency of new medicines that can be used for the humans, and also to check the irritancy of this new medicine. The last one is alternative organism. Is that the first one, the top one is a fruit fly, which is a lower vertebrates that scientists can use as a test subject, because those fruit flies have nearly transparent bodies, which allows the scientists to see their anatomy very much clearer. And the second is invertebrates, which is fishes, which have also a nearly transparent body that can help those scientists to see the anatomy of the animals, and to see whether those new medicine are very much effective for humans or not. The last one is microorganism, which is brewing yeast. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any microscopic brewing yeast for this slide, so I will be talking about it right now. Microorganism, which is mostly using brewing yeast. The reason for scientists to use it is that it has a rapid growth and well-defined genetic system. In conclusion, I have found that animal testing can only be done if no alternatives are available, and shows the benefits of those new medicines for humans. And I would also add that researchers need to apply ethics law so that this experimentation won't be a waste, and that those animals won't suffer through a lot of testing just because that the new medicine is not beneficial enough. And the thing is that suffering also need to be minimized by the scientists for this testing. And last is that researchers need to reduce the number of animals for each of the experimentations that they use. And so I would like to say that animal testing with this research is that animal testing is very much needed for the development of new medicine, especially for humans. Thank you.
Okay, question times. I see Charlotte wrote a lot of questions, and I'm glad she did because she's very interested in this topic.
All right. So when taking data using samples, obviously you need a certain sample size. Do you have any data regarding like the sample size needed for accurate results on testing animals versus the sample size needed to get accurate results on testing with human cells? And how do you compare those?
Unfortunately, I did not do any research on that, but I would say that animal testing are used first for the testing of new drugs, because if new drugs are used towards humans first, humans might develop severe disadvantages for those medicine. Uh, yeah, like so human cells might be very hard to get because it needs humans as a test subject, right? So that using humans, it means that they need those humans to actually become an actual test subject instead of the cells. And it is very hard for scientists to get human cells from a human. So instead of getting human cells, they will use the entire body of the humans.
The examples that you used previously are examples from cases that occurred back in the 1950s and before that. And I would like to ask if there are any more relevant cases that occurred recently in which there is a failure to the medicine that is connected to the animal testing.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any failures of the newest medicines that have been developed, but there are several medicines that are not a failure, which I could say are such as COVID-19 vaccines, which are using animal testing, and it is now used mostly for humans to treat COVID-19.
Okay. It's actually an interesting topic that you have over there. My question is that because you're talking about whether animal testing is can actually or is it ethical? My question is there any certain criteria to use a type of animal for medical testing? That's the first one. And then the second one, if there is any, can you tell me what? And then next, can you tell me also what kind of ethics which has to be applied to make sure that those testings are still considerably ethical and still also protecting the gene pool of animals?
So the first question is that whether there are any criteria. There is actually for animal testing, scientists are need to apply ethical laws such as that the cages of these animals have to be clean, the environment of these animals have to be clean so that any diseases will be contaminated, and also that these animals have to be used in the very smallest number so that the population of certain animals would still be a lot. Well, in several cases, which is the COVID-19 vaccines, scientists uses mostly mice and rats because mice and rats have a much more closest genetics to humans, and even though monkeys also have a closest genetics to humans, some of these monkeys are already endangered. So instead of using monkeys, they use mice and rats. And these mice and rats have about 95% closest genetics with humans. And since mice and rats have a very much large population, scientists can use this test subject as an animal test subject for the COVID-19 vaccines.
About the ethical laws, you're saying about ethical laws. What kind of laws are actually are actually controlled for all us? I mean, that we can still also protect animals, but still allowing the medical medicine testing with animals. So what kind of laws is to be?
So from what I've researched is that if those animals are having very much suffering and also pain, those experiments need to be stopped immediately so that the future or the next test subject won't have very much suffering, and that the dose have to be much more lesser than the previous dose so that those animals would also still have a long life to live.
Okay, I think that's about it. 5 questions in total. Sorry, unfortunately, 5 questions only. Miss she took all these 3 questions. All right, thank you, Nikita. Everyone, give Nikita a round of applause. All right, guys, we have the final presentation. Just want to inform you that obviously Naisrael is rather new to this school, so he had to kind of dig deep to complete this presentation. He missed out one whole year of the information about this EPQ. So yeah, I put a lot of pressure on him. He was stressing out. I think you can still see him, shaking. He's a bit nervous. But yeah, today is the Nashville is the last presentation for today. Nashville, and I think this is relating to everyone who's driving the motorcycles. Okay, Nashville, come up. This is this is a really interesting subject topic. Okay, this is up. How do I use this? This is yeah. Just press next. Okay. Second, Nashville. It's time you. All right. Whenever you're ready.
um,
Sorry, guys. Could you please sit down, please? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, guys, please remove your headphones. Please participate. Okay, just pay attention to your classmate here.
okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nazrul Thompson, and my presentation today is about underage motorcycling, a dangerous mix. Okay. So in this picture, it's a high school students riding motorcycle, which is what my presentation is primarily about. And I'm on the side which is I'm against underage motorcycling. As we can see over here in the first picture, there are three students riding one motorcycle. There are three students riding one motorcycle, which is not how it's designed to be. And the other one is more than three students. Now, why do they do this? It's because one core feature is because they are trying to save money by using one transportation to carry as much people as they can, um, which is very dangerous as it could lead to crashes. Okay, the next one is why is underage motorcycling so common in Indonesia? As we all know, Indonesia is developing countries, which means there are a lot of motorcycles in Indonesia, as not everyone can afford a car, so their substitute is a motorcycle. There are three factors that I'll be talking about, how they affect underage motorcycling in Indonesia. The first factor is economical factors, which is primarily about money and the situation of the country and its people. The second one is the cultural and social factors. The cultural one is about how motorcycles are portrayed in the internet or in the media, which are films. Um, the next one is the lack of rules and regulations, which is focusing on the problem with the country itself. Okay, the first factor is economical factor, which so why do underage people use motorcycles? Why do their parents support them to use motorcycles? The first reason is affordability. As I mentioned before, Indonesia is developing country, which means that the GDP rate for Indonesia citizens are primarily kept in a minimum. And in Indonesia, not most when you're working, most people in Indonesia are paid under the GDP rate, which means they can't afford to buy a car and their personal needs, so they have to cut costs, which motorcycles help because they're affordable. Um, a car, for example, a second-hand car is about 150 million, while a motorcycle you can get for about 15 million, which is why it's so favorable in Indonesia. The next one is fuel efficiency. Since I have my own motorcycle, which is a Kawasaki W175, it runs on 177cc, which could run about 1 liter for 20 kilometers. Compared to a car, I assume a car would take more fuel in a liter, in a 20 kilometer, as they require more fuel, because I think they have more power compared to a motorcycle. The next one is parents' income. Yeah, Indonesia, not everyone are on the high state of the economy. Most of them are under the standard. So their parents' income plays a major role in why they choose a motorcycle. The next one is inflation. Indonesia is experiencing inflation, which means that increasing prices for cars and all other essentials, while the people are still getting paid below their minimum wage. So it's not helping their own state, which lead back to why they chose motorcycles. The next one is the economical and social factors, which I'll discuss about. So the first one are pop culture references. Um, Motorcycles are portrayed in movies, in movies where most of them are used by the underage, primarily high school. For example, this picture is a scene from a famous Indonesian movie that was shot right here in Bandung. The film is called Dilan, which is about they're portraying an underage high school students, primarily about romance. But as you can see, there are motorcycles everywhere, and they're all underage in the scene. Now, watching this scene could inspire teenagers to follow the steps of riding a motorcycle, as simply as a teen, it looks cool. The next one is adventure and exploration. Riding a motorcycle gives you a sense of adventure and exploration, as motorcycles are much more easier to be used than a car and much more flexible. They can go to small roads where cars can't fit, which increases the exploration of one who uses it. The next one is independence. Using a motorcycle, it gives the teen a sense of independence. Rather than the parents walk them to school or drive the students to school, the parents would provide the kids with motorcycle which they could use to go to school. This is actually very good as it trains the sense of independence, which underage people are going to hit the age of where it's coming out of age to adulthood, where independent is very much needed. The next one is cost efficiency. As I stated before, motorcycles are much more fuel efficiency. That's why they help with prices, and because they're cheaper. Apart from cost efficiency, their maintenance are quite cheap compared to a car. And as I said before, a motorcycle, the money that you have to throw out in the very beginning is not as much as a car. You can, even though in this movie they're portrayed using a motorcycle that looks like this, most of the time they would use a motorcycle that is a beat that's already broken down, which are used by their parents and are handed down to the students for use for school. The next problem why underage motorcycling is common in Indonesia is lack of rules and regulations in the country itself. Limited penalties in Indonesia. The penalty for underage motorcycling is primarily only one, which is whoever uses a whoever uses a vehicle under the age receives a penalty of about 1 million in fine, 1 million rupiah in fine, and up to 4 months in prison. This is good as this is a good thing as it helps a little bit. It helps a little bit to reduce the number of underage motorcycle. But as I will continue with my presentation, there's a problem with this. The next one is the enforcement challenges. So even if you put a lot of rules down against underage motorcycling, the the most important part is enforcing them, which Indonesia has has a lot of problem enforcing the challenges, primarily as a reason that leads to corruption in the country itself. So this is the only law that I found against underage motorcycle. The Article 281 of Law Number 22 of 2009 concerning road traffic and transportation, which says that the underage are not allowed to use vehicles that can be cars and motorcycles as they do not have SIMs. This picture shows the behavior that teenagers do when they use underage motorcycles, which leads to inappropriate behavior, such as this student carrying a weapon on their motorcycle. Most of the time in Indonesia, this is known as tawuran, which public high schools or high schools in Indonesia are generally following. This is the punishments stated by the Article 281. It says about 1 million rupiah and up to 4 months in jail, which is not always followed, as I said before, due to corruption in the country and problem with enforcing the rules. In this picture, we can see two pictures. This picture shows that a high school student riding a motorcycle under the age is being checked up by the police. He is stopped when riding the motorcycle for inspection of the identifications, if he's allowed to ride or not. In this case, he's underage, and it looks like he's taking out his wallet to show the identification or to do something called as bribing, which in Indonesia is a huge factors, and that's why the rules and regulations are not strictly applied to a very gradual efficiency. As even though the law stated that you have to pay a fine of up to 1 million and 4 months in jail, most of the time that's neglected, as you can pay the officer about 50,000 rupiah, which is so much more cheaper than the 1 million standard. Yeah, so that's the huge problem in Indonesia. Same with this picture too. They're probably doing bribery. The bribery happens. They won't do it out in the open. They usually take the motorcycle user to a small headquarters where they do the deal, where there's no cameras. The next one is corruption and how corruption plays to underage motorcycles. All right, so this picture is the CPI, which stands for the Corruption Perception Index of the world, where it says that it's a point system, which is 0 to 100, where 100 is very clean, which means like no corruption at all. Where in my research I couldn't find, because you can't reach 100 free corruption, and 0 is highly corrupted. So on the scale of the Corruption Perception Index, Indonesia in the year 2022 ranks around 110 out of 180 countries. As you can see, the score in the year 2022 is 34 out of 100, which means that it is below 50%, which means it's a very corrupted country. This data is taken from the Statistica, a website known as Statistica, which focuses on corruption. This is a global corruption barometer, which stated that 92% of people who think government corruption is a big problem, which is what my slide's focusing about right now. And 30% of the public service users paid a bribe in the previous 12 months. So even the survey taken, it's about 30% of bribery. Corruption is not that bad. It's not that bad. It's very bad for the whole country. But personally, for an underage person to use corruption, it's a safe route instead of paying 1 million rupiah. But of course, corruption in the huge scale is very bad, as it decreases the money in the country and results in improper usage of laws. Another corruption, instead of paying briberies, are the very first step of the licensing system. Even if you're not underage and you're in the required age to get a license, you should do a test to get a motorcycle license. But you could also do something called in Indonesia as nembak. Nembak. It's actually just about, so rather than doing a test, which everyone follows, you just pay money and get your license. Now, does that mean you qualify for the license? I don't think so, because you paid, you didn't do the test. That's why even though you're not underage, it still plays a factor into the death rates and accidents rate caused by motorcycles. Yeah, this is the corruption of Indonesia in the year 2013 to 2022. As we can see in the last decade, it's at the lowest at 32. Sure, it goes high and high and high, but eventually in the year 2022, it reaches back to 34 points, which means that all this effort is insignificant because you reduce back to there, which means that if corruption is not fixed, then the problem with underage motorcycling will always be constant. So we need to fix corruption in the country first to reduce underage motorcycling. How underage motorcycling results in accidents and deaths? So, inexperience. Teenagers are underage, which means they are inexperienced. The underage are 17 in Indonesia, 17 years old and below, which is not even half of your life if your life expectancy is 80 years old. So that means you're inexperienced to life. The next one is poor judgment and decision making. Teenagers are still growing, so their cortex of their brains are very bad at making decisions because they are more prone to influences, which results in poor judgments and decision making. Should you really ride your motorcycle in the rain going at 90 kilometers an hour? I don't think so. But the next one is, as I stated before, speeding. As we are teenagers, we love, adrenaline, which is resulted from speeding. Speeding gives you adrenaline, that's why they do it. But that is bad for, speeding is bad as speeding causes accidents. The more speed you apply to something, the higher the force that is exerted, which results in a much more permanent impact crash, can lead to injuries or deaths. Alcoholic consumption. In Indonesia, getting on alcohol is actually pretty easy. Um, um, yeah, sure, you need a license above the age of 21, but if you're not using a uniform and you look the age, they'll let you buy alcohol. Alcohol plays a factor in underage decision making, as alcohol also results in bad decision, such as they also reduce the reaction time in people, which means you are unable to decide should you turn left or right, and you don't turn and you get crashed. Distractions. Teenagers are very much distracted orientated. As for example, if you're a guy riding a motorcycle, sure, you're riding calm, you're not speeding, you're following every single rule, but then you see a pretty girl on the side, you would take a look, which causes you to crash on the motorcycle, it's fine if you just crash, slow speed, but if you crash and a truck comes by and crash you, well, it's game over. That's why underage motorcycling is very bad. It should be avoided. So this is the graph I took from, this is a graph taken in Indonesia in Solo, where it says this is the distribution of mortality rate due to motorcycle accident by age group. So it has 0 to 11 months to 85-year-old. What we want to focus on, since my presentation is about underage motorcycles, we want to take a look at the 15 to 19-year-old and below. As we can see, the highest peak is at 15 to 19-year-old. Compared to all the other ones, the 15 to 19-year-old are the highest one, which checks out for my data that underage people are a problem with motorcycle because there's a huge spike over there of the mortality rates. This is the information from another one called Respondents Motorcycle Accidents by Variables. This was taken of a survey of 2,371 people. As we can see, it focuses on the ages of 14 and below to 17 and above. But this presentation focuses on below 17. As we can see that the highest age of the demographic, the age graphic is 16-year-old, which is at 841 compared to the rest of them. But even if you add all this, we can find that the underage is a problem with motorcycles because they're more prominent with the usage. Male and female are male and female are the one that's using them. So this is the data, and this is the school type, if they're in private or public, which means that motorcycles are being used by school students, which checks out for my high school statements about 1592 in the private and 779 in public. And this one also junior high school, senior high school, where the most problem occurs in senior high school, about 1670. Yep, and the biggest one is the licensing. Since they are underage, well, they do not have a license. About 91.3% of them do not have a license, which is against the law. That's why it's bad because laws are put in place to be followed. So the solutions to this is increasing awareness, stronger laws and punishments, fix corruption. Awareness is instead of portraying only romantic movies with motorcycles, maybe show the negative side of them crashing or enhance the news rates of gang members, such as in Indonesia, Bandung. It's a very prominent country for motorcycle gangs such as Ecstasy, Bridges, and I forgot the other one. But yeah, so basically where we are, Bandung, it has a huge problem with motorcycles because Ecstasy, the gang, is a group which was developed when they were in high school. Next one is the solution is stronger laws and punishment. So instead of only applying that one law, we should increase more laws that would affect also the parents, the teachers, as that's where the motorcycles are being parked. So the principal should be punished for having underage people in the underage riders in their school. The next one is fix corruption. Even if you increase the laws, you do not fix corruption, the problem still remains as you can still bribe the police officer and let you go. Oh, and as I forgot to add in stronger laws and punishments, we can also use such as a country which is known as Australia, who uses body cams on their routes, checking. So if you have body cams, which means you would fix the corruption in the public sector of underage motorcycles, as you have to because you'll get caught. So this will help reduce the underage rates. So in conclusion, underage motorcycle use can lead to dangerous behavior, which results in injury and deaths for the riders and for other people. So from all my presentation and my slides, I stand in underage motorcycles are not a good combination, which they should be reducing. Okay, thank you for listening to my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Nazrul. It was rather engaging. You made people laugh, which is good. I think because many of these guys can relate to you. So, how many of you guys is driving? How many of you guys? Oh no, I can't believe it. Okay, so that means you're the first person to ask the question.
Okay. So as you said, you supported your belief that underage motorcycling is not a good idea. But you also said that the underage motorcycling actually helps certain people, especially those who are in the lower sector of economy who do not earn enough income to actually gain access to transportation. So how do you think the government can actually intervene in this so that they decrease the usage of underage motorcycling?
Well, we can focus on the parents' income by increasing the minimum wage, and rather than paying below minimum wage, increasing their salaries, which results in a better transportation, a safer one, such as a car. Or since that's a huge stance on fixing money, you could use public transportation such as buses, Ojek, Gojek. Wait, that's still motorcycle. But the Gojek riders are not underage, so it's still an answer. So rather than using your own motorcycle, use Gojek.
Use angkot like me.
Or you can use Angkot, which is much cheaper. Yes.
Okay, anyone else? Yeah.
All right, Nazril, thank you for your interesting presentation. I'm really
Yes.
entertained by that. The one that you say, the prefrontal cortex, is the part of the brain that fully develop when you are 30.
Yes.
When you are under 30, the other part of the brain function the most, we call it amygdala, which we respond. That's why the teenagers, little children, they respond impulsively, not rationally. Okay. Um, Now, talking about that, we see together that the death toll caused by underage motorcycling is staggering. Me, why the government does not deem it important to have this kind of seminar from schools to schools as they do seminars about narcotics, about sex, love, and dating, right? If they deem it important, I see if we continue neglect this, we will lose our youth due to unimportant causes such as accidents. What do you think about it?
Well, by that statement, since my presentation and I'm on the side of against underage motorcycling, well, yes, the underage are acting by impulses, which results in the crash rates. Now, why don't the government, the country, solve this? That was a solution that I stated: public awareness, which are not being exerted enough. Um, I think I think even I don't. The governments do not put pressure on underage motorcycles is because I think there are much more important one that is in the general stance, such as the drug one. So it's being overshadowed by a bigger problem. Um, so yeah, the government should actually focus on showing underage motorcycling, like showing the effects, like the accidents and the injuries. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, anyone else? Yeah, Mr. Ray.
Okay, thank you very much. Being an avid motorcyclist myself, yeah,
Oh,
so being involved in so many accidents when I was young, almost losing my head on one instance. Um, I would suggest actually, not my suggestion, but it's your take. What do you think of? So that there is actually an alternative solution. Number one is to impose a lot of tax on motorcycling. Like so, if you let's say you ride a motorcycle, then you have to renew the license every year, right? And also you put a lot of tax onto the motorcycles so that the price will go up and beyond the reach of most young people. But on the other hand, then you give subsidy to the public transport so that the public transport, especially for young people, can be free. So you can just go anywhere you want, taking bus, taking angkot, just hop in one angkot, and then from angkot you jump to the bus, yeah, directly. It's up to you, but it's free. So what is your take on that? Thank you.
well, that's a very good substitute. Public transport, making it free. Increasing the motorcycle tax. Well, as we know that in Indonesia, bribery is a huge problem. I see on the road, you need a license, you need a plate on your vehicles, but most of the time they take it out. They take out the plot number and just continue riding. So even increasing the tax, sure, it solves the problem on the front side, but there's always a alternative of activity that they can do, which is continue riding. Sure, they get caught, but then again, it leads back to bribery and corruption. So yeah, substituting public transport and making them free for high schools uh, would actually play a huge role in reducing underage motorcycles, as that means that money wise, it's a problem fixed, and underage motorcycling, on the other hand, is also fixed. So it'll reduce the underage motorcycling accidents, injuries, and providing the youth with a better, safer transportation. So I agree with what.
Okay, I have a question. You yourself, so how old are you exactly?
I'm well. Thank God it's about underage. I'm actually 18 years old.
Are you 18 years old? Okay, so if you did all this research and project, for you yourself, in your opinion, do you have any experience on underage driving or anything of that?
Okay. Well, ever since I was a kid, I've always been culturally influenced by motorcycles, um, dirt bikes, Red Bull, films. So that actually brings up how I portray motorcycles. So when I reached the age of 17 years old, we all get pocket money, right? I saved my pocket money to afford a motorcycle, which I asked my parents if I could get a motorcycle. And at first they were hesitant, as they know the risk with getting a motorcycle. But that's also another problem. Parents are very caring to what their kids want. So when I was 17-year old, I bought my first motorcycle. And even though I have it and I use it at underage, I do not use it for school. I just use it for close riding or away from the city. I get out the city, which reduces my crashing rates with other vehicles. But since I am telling about underage motorcycling is a bad mix, I have to say that we should not do that. Because when I was 17-year old and I got my first motorcycle, I kept trying to increase how fast I could go. So yeah, I fell a lot of time, but I'm still here. So yeah, we should reduce underage motorcycling.
Okay, last question from me or anyone else, maybe. Do you think people like underage drivers should be criminalized? Let's say if they have an accident and they kill someone, do you think that they should be criminalized and put in jail for like maybe 10 years? And because that's just in Australia, they do that. It's a murderer. You're actually murdering someone. Regardless of your age, you will go to jail for 15, 20 years. Do you think that Indonesia should apply that to reduce, to back up, or to support your argument?
Well, in my opinion, since we know that in Australia, corruption is very low, and in Australia, the rates of accidents is not as much as Indonesia due to the factors of the population. So by applying the rules set by Australia to Indonesia, I agree that it would help reduce underage motorcycling if the problem of corruption and body cams were first installed in the first place, which exerts the pressure of following the rules that is 15 years in jail for underage motorcycling and crashing and killing someone. So I agree with applying that rules in Indonesia, because even though that's a very ridiculous rule, 10 years. Oh wait, no, that's actually a good rule for 10 years for a life. I think it'll significantly reduce the underage motorcycling problem.
Round of applause. Okay, everyone, thank you for today's participation. I hope that you, and especially for AC ones next year. So I hope that you learn tips and tricks. I would also like to thank parents and those who are listening to the live stream. And I think that's about it. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you. Before you leave, please remove rubbish, space back on the table. Please tidy up this patient. Thank you for AC2. Once again,